Congratulations. Welcome everyone to 284 News. My name is Javon Wilson.
I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant.
And we are so thrilled and happy to be coming to you live out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands. The content continues via our website, 284media.com.
In today's news, Miya's family to look at every legal remedy against apartment complex. Lawyer says apartment exhibited several acts of negligence.
Media down worldwide. Facebook, Instagram, and of course WhatsApp shut down today, leaving the world in an entire frenzy. The question is, what were we doing before social media?
And 3 BVI companies linked to King of Jordan's secret purchase of 3 U.S. homes, valuing nearly $70 million.
Rotary Club of Tortola donates over $30,000 worth of school supplies to the Ivan Dawson Primary School, and BVI Athletics Association president calls on Corporate BVI to invest more into local sports and athletes. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
You value traditions. Today, you value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Monday, October 4th, 2021. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant. We're coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. From Jost Van Dyke, Virgin Gorda, Tortola, and Anegada, we've got you covered with all the local, regional, and international happenings of the world. Before we get into our newscast, we're touching on some headlines. Of course, the speaker has been exposed. A judge unravels partial accusations. Order placed for cold storage facility for Pfizer and Moderna vaccine, says the Honorable Health Minister, and media has been down worldwide. That's Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp shut down today, leaving the world in an entire frenzy. Now, media reports from CNN Business reports that they were having difficulties, and some tens of thousands of persons reported that they were having difficulty accessing the social medias, as well as downloading and uploading pictures and other information. The question is, Kamal, what were we doing before the social media came into force that would allow us to now be in a state of a frenzy where we aren't able to communicate, we're having difficulties? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it caught me by surprise. It obviously affected my workflow today. Obviously, we rely on Facebook to get some information, you know, whether it be some pressing news or whatever the case is. And I think it just occurred minutes before 12 this afternoon. And at first I thought it was the internet, you know, playing the fool. And then when I refreshed, I went on Google, it worked. I went to my email, it worked. But Facebook, WhatsApp, or Instagram, neither of those applications worked. And that's one of the critical issues that we have in this information age, when we put so many different things on one platform.
Correct. When
it has one error, you know, obviously everything on one infrastructure affects it all. And I guess this is a learning lesson. I hope that Facebook put into consideration going forward. I mean, this is not the first time that we have experienced such, but this is the first time, to my recollection, that it has been to this length of time. I mean, usually within an hour, 2 hours, you know, it's back up and running, but I mean, this is probably what now, about 4 or 5 hours now, and it's still basically down.
Well, it does put into perspective the mammoth task that all these medias play in our communication, not only locally, not only in receiving and sending information, but just think of being, for many persons, for example, WhatsApp being the single tool used to communicate from persons from one region to the other, and for whatever reason you're unable to do so. I think it definitely puts into perspective how much weight we put on different social medias that would allow us to communicate, and it definitely makes us wonder what we were doing before as it pertains to communication. Are we calling more? Are we calling less? But these are some of the daily happenings.
Indeed. Well, viewers, moving on, with the family of Miya Marcano will be assessing all available legal remedies against Arden Villas apartment complex, which they believe are liable in the recent death of the former BVI Prince and Princess contest. Well, this was announced during a press conference which was held by the family on Sunday, October 3rd in Orlando by their legal representative, National Civil Rights Attorney Darrell Washington. Well, at the time, Washington said that a lawsuit was not filed as yet, but revealed that there were plans to look at all the available avenues on the table. Well, he said there were several negligent acts by the apartment complex which were observed, including negligent entrustment and negligent hiring. Well, Attorney Washington also revealed that at no time was there any correspondence between the officials of the complex and the family of Miya. Well, he said the complex officials have refused to communicate and respond to any of the queries of the family.
Not been a lawsuit that has been filed at the current moment, but I will tell you that the family is currently looking at every legal remedy that is available to them. We do believe that there was negligence that took place. There was negligent entrustment, there was negligent hiring. So there is some liability on the part of this apartment complex, and again, we feel that had this apartment complex taken the proper steps, this person should have not even been employed at that apartment complex. Quite honest with you, it's been very disappointing because Miya was not only a tenant at this apartment complex, but she was an employee. This apartment complex has not reached out to the family to offer their condolences. This apartment complex have not talked to the family. In fact, this apartment complex have been extremely difficult with the family getting answers. So it's been really disappointing the way this apartment complex has handled this. You know, when you just do just a quick background search on the person that had the key fob, you will find that there are some hits. There are some things that this person has been involved in. So if this apartment complex is going to entrust someone like that with the key fob that gives him open access to somebody's apartment, that's very problematic.
Well, Washington also said that he believes the death of Miya could have been prevented had the apartment complex done the necessary checks. Really revealed as a result of Miya's death, other young women in the complex and neighboring areas have stated that they now are in fear of their own safety.
Death is something that is very difficult. But what makes death even more difficult is when it's death that could have been prevented. And in this situation, this was a preventable death. And this is what makes it very difficult for the family. We've had the opportunity to talk to young girls who are college students, young girls who are tenants at the Art and Villas apartment. And people are living in fear because what happened to Miya could have easily happened to one of them. And it's very awful that we have a complex that did not take the proper precautions to assure that this young lady was safe. When her parents allowed her to stay in that apartment complex, she was staying there because we thought this was one of the best. The families thought that this was a complex that you can live in and feel protected. And now we're learning so many different things. We're learning that there weren't even security cameras in a number of places at this complex. So again, there is a lot of frustration, but there is just simply no way that this young man should have had access. And I'm calling him a young man, but he was a predator. He shouldn't have had access to Miya's apartment. And we believe that there was so much more that could have been done to prevent this. Sadly, there are young students who live at this apartment complex today who are passing around a petition because they're demanding that there be justice. They're demanding that there be some safety precaution taken at this apartment complex so that their lives are not taken the way Miya lost her life.
Well, Miya's cousin Kaylee Sue said she, along with the family, will plan to make the environment where her cousin lived safe for everyone, following the outcry from other female tenants who shared daunting experiences about other maintenance staff.
Different parties that have reached out and mentioned not feeling safe living there anymore, and of course we wanted to, our goal was of course to find Miya home, bring her home and bring her safe, but if we could make the place where she lived safe for everyone, that would be the end goal. There are so many students and other tenants that came forward and shared their stories about maybe their interactions with maintenance workers that made them feel uncomfortable or just in general not feeling safe anymore. We had vigils in the evening while we were looking for her, and sometimes there would be tenants that came up and said, you know, I just don't feel safe here, and I'd say, okay, give me 1 second, let me see if I can find one of our cousins to walk you home. There were so many family members there that were willing for us to make them feel safe, so they should feel safe all of the time. You shouldn't feel unsafe where you live. That's supposed to be everyone's safe space. When you don't feel safe somewhere, you're supposed to be able to say, I'm gonna go home, wrap myself up in a blanket and feel okay, and that's just not acceptable.
Well, viewers, Miya, who was a Valencia College student, was missing since September 24th after she was last seen at the complex where she lived and worked. Well, the building's maintenance worker, Armando Caballero, was named the prime suspect. He was later found dead in what appeared to be a suicide case. Well, Ron, you know, this story would have took us all by surprise over the weekend in terms of the discovery of
Outcome,
what appears
yes.
to be her body. It's very sad news for the territory, very sad news globally. I've seen international media houses publishing the stories, of course, and I've seen international entertainers as well carrying the story because of the impact that Miya, though her life would have been short, you know, the impact she would have had, such a beautiful soul on us all. And I really wish her family, you know, very well in these difficult times, you know, very hard times as well.
Kamal, this really puts into perspective, just like the family has stated along with their attorney, the call for safer environments across our region, not only in the BVI, but especially when we look at the United States in particular. There has been many persons, both male and female, going missing within the past few months and years. And I think it really puts into perspective the length that persons and organizations go into really making sure that their staff are checked, making sure that the residents of not only an employment agency but a residency are secured and safe. And I think the Miya Marcano, I think they're actually calling for a Miya Marcano bill and legislation that will really put into perspective the safety of residents in such complexes. And I think, unfortunately, as it is, we do look forward to a positive outcome in regards to making sure that an incident like this does not happen again. Viewers, continuing on locally, September 6th, 2017 will forever be etched in the memories of the people of the Virgin Islands. Of course, this is a statement that stands strongly for the faculty, staff, and students of the Ivan Dawson Primary School, and most of the school's infrastructure, as we would remember, was damaged due to the passing of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. Fundraising activities were initiated by Mrs. Gail Terry from British Columbia, Canada, after seeing the devastating impact of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. She is an avid visitor to the territory and also is fond of the King Garden Bay area. Mrs. Terry organized a benefit concert that was held in British Columbia, Canada, with a team of business and music professionals featuring some of the area's most popular R&B, rock, world, beat, and blues bands. Now, this lively and fun benefit concert was complemented with another blues music event at the Cyril B. Romney Tortola Pear Park. Now, the funds raised, viewers, were embarked to help the Ivan Dawson Primary School, which included school supplies and percussion instruments. Over the past 4 years, the Rotary Club of Tortola has been working diligently with the school's principal to determine how best to assist in aiding the needs of the school and adopt their program. Now, the initiative was to conduct a program to facilitate learning with modernized technology. On September 30th, 2021, an official handover ceremony was held where the Rotary Club of Tortola donated a wide range of school supplies totaling over $30,000 to the acting Premier and Minister of Education and Culture, Youth Affairs, Sports, along with Agriculture and Fisheries, Dr. The Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley, and Principal of the Ivan Dawson Primary School, Mrs. Tammy Henry. Now, the devices would not have come at a better time, said Principal Henry. The current curriculum demands the use of devices and other technologies in our classrooms. Technology in the classroom benefits the students in many ways. It creates an engaging environment, incorporates the different learning styles of the students, and it prepares the students for the future. These items will go a long way, she said, in educating our students in these changing times and ensuring that every learner at this school succeeds. President Ian S. Smith of the Rotary Club of Tortola stated, and I quote, "This donation is one of numerous initiatives by the Rotary Club of Tortola during this Rotary-themed month of basic education and literacy, as we are giving our future leaders additional opportunities and tools needed to really succeed." The acting premier said, and I quote, "While directly addressing the students, the Rotary Club of Tortola has done a wonderful job at providing you with the tools that you need to be successful. But there are tools that you need to bring to school every day. With you, willingness to learn, your good behavior, your respect, and all other characteristics of a successful student." Now, Honorable Wheatley viewers showered at the club and its donors with thanks. Doing the same, that was the school's district representative, the Honorable Melvin Mitch Turnbull, who was also present at the handing over ceremony. Rotary serves, of course, to change lives locally and internationally. This project was made possible thanks to the collaboration efforts of the White Rock Rotary Club in BC, Mrs. Gail Terry, along with her team, as well as private donations and contributions to the Dr. David Baldwin Memorial Fund, the Rotary Club of Tortola. Gail Terry, her team, and the White Rock Club are very proud to be a part of this initiative in helping meet the needs of the teachers and students through this donation. And of course, they wish the students and teachers of the Ivan Nelson Primary School a wonderful academic school year. Present at the handover ceremony was Acting Premier and Minister for Education and Culture, Dr. Natalia Wheatley, District Representative, the Honorable Melvin Mitch Turnbull, educators, teachers, and students, of course, the Rotary Club of Tortola representatives, including President Mr. Ian S. Smith, IPP Dion Stout, PP Michael Kalori, PP Lynette Harrigan, Director Kate Stevenson, and SAA Kathy O. Richards. What a wonderful contribution, Kamal, by the Rotary Club of Tortola. We are living in some challenging times, and oftentimes residents like to really zone in on the government and require a lot of them. But this corporate partnership that we need to get a bit more reacquainted with is very important. Rotary Club of Tortola, along with its donors, have contributed some $30,000 to the Ivan Dawson Primary School, and I think when you put this holistically, this is just an example of what one organization, imagine if other persons were to come on board and perhaps adopt a school, adopt a classroom, and really contribute to the various facets that make up the Virgin Islands.
Indeed, Ron. Well, viewers, moving on. Well, up next, 3 BVI companies linked to King of Jordan's secret purchase of 3 U.S. homes valuing nearly $70 million, and Governor Bryan prepared to loosen COVID-19 restrictions territory-wide, stating we can't do this forever. We get to these stories when 284 News returns. Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, 3 companies in the British Virgin Islands have been listed in the recently leaked financial documents, also known as the Pandora Papers, for their assistance in secretly purchasing properties in the United States valuing nearly $70 million for the King of Jordan. Well, this is according to a published BBC article dated Sunday, October 3rd, which said that the King of Jordan, Abdullah II bin Al Hussein, secretly purchased 15 homes since assuming power in 1999. Well, this information about the King of Jordan is reportedly contained in newly obtained financial documents labeled the Pandora Papers, where they detail the work of companies that offer secretly financial services and the hidden fortunes of some of the most powerful people of the planet. Well, the article said that BBC Panorama and The Guardian in the UK have worked with other media partners to assess more than 12 million files from 14 companies in the British Virgin Islands, Belize, Panama, Hong Kong, Cyprus, Switzerland, and other countries. Well, the properties in question included a 7-bedroom home which sits among the multi-million-dollar clifftop properties overlooking the Pacific in the Point Dume Peninsula of Malibu, California. Well, according to BBC, the property was bought for about $33.5 million in 2014 by Nabisco Holdings SA, a company located in the BVI, at a record price for the area at the time. Well, it further said that 2 different BVI companies bought 2 homes either side of the property in 2015 and 2017 respectively, which are all being developed into one huge property at a total cost of $68 million. Well, the documents in the Pandora Papers also expose that the 3 companies are among those represented by a Panama law firm, and all were secretly owned by the King of Jordan. But the article further revealed that 8 months after the passing of the Beneficial Ownership Secured System Act in 2017, which compels owners of companies on the island to be identified on an internal register held by the government, the companies still did not disclose King Abdullah as the property owners. Well, he also does not appear to have been identified as a politically exposed person, someone in a prominent public position, a requirement on financial firms under anti-corruption rules. While this is not the first time that the BVI has been mentioned in global leaked financial documents, as the offshore companies in the territory were also mentioned in the 2016 Panama Papers, as well as the leaked U.S. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, also referred to as FinCEN, documents which were revealed in 2020. Ron, this was some very global breaking news over the weekend. With this discovery of these Pandora documents. Not only the King of Jordan, but other big public figures and political figures in the world, including the Russian president and stuff, where there was millions of documents revealing, hidden agendas, hidden information, which obviously have some impact on the global economy.
Kamal, we here in the British Virgin Islands, of course, our financial services being the stalwart of our economic growth, have for many instances been engulfed, I think, and incorporated into, unfortunately, such instances of fraud and neglect in these cases. I do think it is important for such stories to be come to the forefront, because you see in a lot of cases, particularly in this, where the media has played an extremely important role as it pertains to the narrative and curating of such information. So I want to encourage our financial services institutions here in the BVI to continue to do their best, as I think they have wholeheartedly been doing for a very long time. It's just unfortunate that at the end of the day, because of the jurisdiction and where some of these companies have been incorporated, we too then are called and engulfed into this narrative.
The thing about what you said, the incorporation of a company doesn't necessarily mean that it's locally owned.
Yes.
As you would have seen in a lot of these cases of white-collar crime, as I would call it. There are situations where the companies is only incorporated in the BVI, but the persons are elsewhere in the world, but it ends up leaving somewhat of a negative taste, a negative distasteful taste on the BVI, despite
because of the record of incorporation.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, our viewers are panning across to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Governor Albert Bryan said he is ready to ease COVID-19 restrictions in the U.S. Virgin Islands imposed 1 year and 7 months ago, believe it or not, telling local media during an interview on Friday that once St. Croix, which is presently seeing a surge in active COVID-19 cases, gets under control, many pandemic-induced rules will start lifting. He said, and I quote, that's Governor Albert Bryan, "We're awaiting for St. Croix to calm down. Once that surge is done, then we're going to start to lift a lot of restrictions. I want to do it. You can't do this with St. Croix going through this little surge. Once we get St. Croix below 100, we will feel more comfortable," he said, about freeing up, because we can't do this forever. We've got to get back to business. Now, as of Saturday, there were 204 active COVID-19 cases territory-wide in the U.S. Virgin Islands, with 156 on St. Croix, 41 on St. Thomas, and 7 on St. John, that is, according to the VI Department of Health. The governor said while rules for Virgin Islanders will be eased, restrictions for visitors coming into the territory will remain in place. Currently, airlines are to require that passengers show a green QR code before allowing travelers to the USVI to board, though the program is not equally applied. And all visitors to the territory must submit an applicable COVID-19 test result in the U.S. Virgin Islands screening portal and receive a clearance via email with a green QR code prior to traveling. Now, upon arrival, travelers must provide the green QR code. Virgin Islanders residents can submit either a negative COVID-19 test or proof of vaccination through the USVI screening portal. On location level, where we've got to free up restrictions, but for people coming in from other places, those restrictions will remain in place, Governor Bryan said. Now, the administration continues to push vaccination as the safest, best precaution against the virus, but it was unclear as to whether Mr. Bryan would stick to the plan of arriving at a 70% inoculation before fully reopening the USVI Virgin Islands. The territory was only 44% fully vaccinated as of Monday, while 51% had either received a first dose or both, according to a live tracking data compiled by the New York Times. Now, Kamal, as we see, I think leaders, not only residents, but leaders are getting a bit wary and tired of the protocols and the restrictions that come with COVID-19. Here in the U.S. Virgin Islands, we see Governor Albert Bryan saying that essentially once the cases decline in St. Croix, that he is prepared, along with his administration, to really ease the restrictions because, as he said, we can't live like this forever.
Indeed, we're not only seeing this in the USVA as well, we're seeing it in other Caribbean countries such as St. Lucia, Antigua, and most recently Barbados, which is basically skyrocketing in cases of more than 158 families and not persons affected, almost more than 1,000 persons basically in isolation. And the situation has gotten so bad, especially in Barbados, to the extent now where there are secondary schools and primary schools that have persons basically quarantining. And now it's gotten so overwhelming that almost all the facilities, the secondary school facilities that they have persons quarantining in are almost overwhelmed. Now they're asking persons to home quarantine and trusting that persons home quarantine. So that goes to show the extent of how bad it is in places such as Barbados. We do hope that the situation gets under control, not only in Barbados but also in USVA and in the other Caribbean countries, because it's really negatively and severely impacting those economies as well.
One of the things, Kamal, that I think is important to highlight as we look at the COVID-19 situation, based on CDC reports, as much as we are getting tired of not only talking about COVID-19, but dealing with the ramifications of COVID-19, believe it or not, we are closer, based on the records, we are closer to the beginning of the pandemic as we are to the end. It's been 2 years in, and it would seem daunting, but I think it's important for persons to put that into perspective. We're 2 years in, and we're still closer, based on initial reports from CDC and the experts, closer to the beginning of the pandemic than we are to the end, which means that this is essentially going to be and continue to be a long haul. So what do we do to really traverse and really make sure that the way forward is as pleasant as possible for all concerned? We have to continue to take precautions and put it in place. We have to continue to be innovative as it pertains to our businesses, especially when it comes to small business. Education, where our young people are concerned, also has to have a very innovative perspective. When you think of inoculating, I'll take the BVI for example, inoculating most of the population, you cannot leave aside your students because they also make up the population. So when we look at the COVID-19 situation holistically, long term, how are we going to continue to sustain our territories and our countries without losing hope? So far, because we are closer again to the beginning than we are to the end.
Well, we touched on inoculation, but as you would have seen, inoculation, yes, is the best remedy. But as the virus continues to mutate and it provides
different variants.
It provides presents different variants, but it also provides somewhat of a combat against those persons who are already inoculated, as well as those persons who aren't. And that's why I guess a lot of the authorities are urging, at least for the 75 to 80% inoculation, start therefore preventing this virus from basically transforming into a stronger variant. And this is the problem that the Caribbean and other places have faced, because there's so much of a hesitancy towards being inoculated that
across the region,
that time persons decide they want to, it still affects them because it's a new strain, a more stronger strain basically that gets beneath that protective layer, therefore providing some form of health difficulties, especially in instances where you have underlying issues. That's the key part as well. We see it basically in the territory where we had 37 deaths, 36 of which were just in a short space of time. As well, we see in the USVA over 70 plus deaths. I know in Barbados, around that same number, 70 to 80 deaths, some of who were inoculated, but had underlying issues.
Absolutely daunting task, but we continue to traverse and steer the course as it pertains to COVID-19. Viewers, that is all the time we have, but of course that is not all the content. We have a myriad of articles available for you. Please visit our website at 284media.com. It's always a pleasure. A happy Monday to each and every one of you. I'm Ron Grant.
And I'm Kamal Haynes. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.